We moved to nearby Noblesville, Indiana, when I was 7 years old, and would remain there until I left home for college. When I think of home, I think of Noblesville. A northern suburb of Indianapolis, Noblesville is a fairly affluent community. It's probably a lot like what most people picture when they think of suburban life. We lived in a neighborhood with lots of houses and lots of kids. We enjoyed a fairly tight community with the families we knew from our sports activities. Some of my best friends lived across the street from us. I remember going over to their house with my dad to build my Pinewood Derby car for Boy Scouts. My approach to the Pinewood Derby was no different than my attitude toward other sports. I wanted to win. I was super competitive as a kid, and if I didn't win, I was a terrible sport. I'd throw a fit or run off crying. When I did win, I was on top of the world. Even as a child, I craved that feeling. I loved competition and wanted to be better than everyone else, especially my sister Shawnee. Shawnee is only 18 months older than I am, and she was an extremely gifted athlete as well. We've always been close friends, and we got into some trouble and did typical kid stuff together. I remember us doing things like finding a mask and a snorkel and filling up a trash can with water. We then took turns dunking each other into the trash can, learning how to use our new equipment. When we lived in an apartment for a few years, I remember the two of us going to the dumpster to see what kind of trash we could use to build a fort. She was my main competition for most things throughout my childhood. If I didn't beat her, then I'd end up in a wrestling match with her. We played basketball on a hoop across the street, and Shawnee says we never actually finished a game because we'd always get into a fight. I threw a basketball at her one time as she walked away. She most likely returned the favor. We made a game out of anything we could, and were cutthroat in our soccer and go fish competitions. We went sledding on a frozen lake when I was in 2nd or 3rd grade. I fell into the lake, and Shawnee quickly jumped in to save the sled, not me. I'm glad she loves me more than that now. Another time, we got into a scissor fight, don't ask me to explain, and I cut her finger badly enough that she had to go to the hospital to get stitches. I swear it was an accident. I'm not sure to this day that she believes me. I had another taste of stitches myself when I was 5 or 6 at a roller rink birthday party. During the limbo contest, I wanted to be the one to go the lowest and beat everyone else. But I cracked my chin open when I fell forward onto the floor while trying to go under the bar. Competitive fire was a constant motivator during my younger years, and while it got me in trouble at times, it also fueled my quest for excellence. Despite all our shenanigans, we had a remarkably structured childhood. I guess that comes naturally from having 2 military parents. We ate dinner together in the evenings. When we disobeyed, my parents put us in timeout. We were expected to do chores when we were told, and my mother often used the competitiveness between Shawnee and me to her advantage, getting us to do the tasks that we didn't like to do. "Okay," she'd say, "let's see who can take the trash out the quickest." A lot of my friends came from homes with far fewer guidelines, but before I could go play, I had to cut the grass or do other tasks that needed to be done. My parents had high expectations for us. I hated the restrictions of the time, but I have since come to see the wisdom and the benefit of them. My parents put guidelines in place not because they didn't like us, but because they wanted what was best for us, what would keep us safe and balanced as individuals later in life. My parents remained active in the Catholic Church after we moved to Noblesville. Both my mom and my dad taught Sunday school, so the church community stayed a big part of my life. While I had a church background complete with things like vacation Bible school and Sunday school, the teaching didn't seem to apply to the rest of my life, away from the church. Eventually, sports began to push church more and more to the periphery of my life. Sports were becoming what I lived for. Sports captured my dreams, hopes, and imagination, and thus my allegiance. I looked to sports to give my life meaning and happiness. Isn't that what we are all looking for? Meaning and happiness? For me, sports seem